Welcome back to Timeless Messages from the I Ching. This is Stephen. Thanks for tuning in. So I've already cast the coins, and it's a fairly lengthy reading because it does have a couple of different changes. As you can see from the two hexagrams, we have number 55, Abundance and Fullness, which has the arousing thunder at the top hexagram, and Li, the clinging fire below. So the eldest son and the middle daughter above and below, and then it transitions to following, number 17, which is the youngest daughter on the top and the eldest son on the bottom. Tui on the top and Chen on the bottom. So let's get into the text, number 55, also known as Feng, abundance, fullness. Okay? Chen is movement, Li is flame, whose attribute is clarity. Clarity within, movement without. This produces greatness and abundance. The hexagram pictures a period of advanced civilization. However, the fact that development has reached a peak suggests that this extraordinary condition of abundance cannot be maintained permanently. The judgment, abundance has success. The king attains abundance. Be not sad. Be like the sun at midday. So it's not given to every mortal to bring about a time of outstanding greatness and abundance. Only a born ruler of men is able to do it, men and women, because this ruler's will is directed to what is great. Such a time of abundance is usually brief. Therefore, a sage might well feel sad in view of the decline that must follow. So the sun at midday can't go any further. It's at a peak, and then it begins to descend, of course. But in terms of the sage being inclined to be sad because the sage knows that there's a decline that must follow abundance, such sadness does not benefit the sage, and the sage knows this. Only a person who is inwardly free of sorrow and care can lead in a time of abundance. So that's an important point. If you are inwardly free of sorrow and care, then you can lead in a time of abundance. And just to reiterate, I think that's on the title, but the question I asked is, what's entering viewers' lives now? What's entering viewers' lives now when they find this video? Doesn't mean it has to be the next day. It could be in 10 days or 10 years after this video is posted. If you found it, your intelligent wisdom, your guides, your creator have guided you here for reasons. So if you are free inwardly of sorrow and care, then you can lead in this time of abundance. So examine and see, are you free of sorrow and care? And if so, then you're going to have a good leadership in this abundant time. So this person must be like the sun at midday, mimicking the energy of the sun at midday, just shining very, very brightly, illuminating and gladdening with joy everything under heaven. So that's a wonderful image. The image, both thunder and lightning come, the image of abundance. So the top trigram is thunder and lightning, and the bottom is the clinging fire, the image of abundance. Thus, a superior person decides lawsuits and carries out punishments. This hexagram has a certain connection with biting through, number 21, in which thunder and lightning similarly appear together, but in the reverse order. In biting through, laws are laid down. Here they are applied and enforced. Clarity, Li, the bottom trigram, within makes it possible to investigate the facts exactly, and shock, or the thunder above, Chen, without, ensures a strict and precise carrying out of punishments. Okay, number 9 in the third place, that's the first changing line. As you see, the circle with the yang line in the third position. 9 in the third place means the underbrush is of such abundance that the small stars can be seen at noon. He breaks his right arm. No blame. The image is that of a progressive covering over the sun. Here, the eclipse reaches totality. Therefore, even the small stars can be seen at noontime. In the realm of social relationships, this means that the prince is now so eclipsed that even the most insignificant persons can push themselves into the foreground. So the prince, you could think of it as the princess as well, but in this particular reading it says the prince is eclipsed. And so insignificant persons push themselves into the front, into the foreground. This makes it impossible for an able person, though this person might be the right hand of a ruler, to undertake anything. It is as though this person's arm were broken, but this person is not to blame for being thus hindered in action. So here we have an image of someone who is being eclipsed in social relationships. This means that insignificant persons are pushing themselves into the foreground. But remember, this is not your choice. You're not to blame for this, even though you're being hindered in this way. And it makes it impossible for you to undertake anything, even though you may be the right hand of the king or the queen, the ruler. Okay? So just bear that in mind in terms of the changes that come about in terms of the image or archetype of abundance indicate that there's going to be an eclipse of your being, and other insignificant persons will push themselves to the foreground. But take heart, this will not last forever, okay? And it's not your fault. You're not to blame for this situation, okay? And the next change is the 6th and the 5th place, which is the X in the center of that feminine line. 6th and the 5th place means lines are coming, blessings and fame draw near, good fortune. The ruler is modest and therefore open to the counsel of able persons. Thus, the ruler is surrounded by persons who suggest the lines of action. This brings blessings, fame, and good fortune to the ruler and to all people. So here we have an image of a ruler who is modest, who's not puffed up, who's not conceited, and so forth, and is surrounded by able persons. And these persons suggest to this ruler the ways to proceed in their particular life. Now, this could be real people, it could be your spirit guides, it could be divine, unconscious promptings and wisdom from your inner being. It could take on a lot of different forms, but the message is to stay modest, and therefore the counsel, the wisdom, the guidance will come through, perhaps from other people or other avenues as well. And as you stay modest, this will bring blessings and fame and good fortune to you and to all people. Blessings, fame, and good fortune to you and all people. That's a hopeful image, okay? So this could be describing your situation or what is soon coming into your life, okay? Maybe there's an inkling of this coming in. You're getting a sense of it. Maybe it hasn't appeared to you yet, but maybe you will see it very soon. So this is an image that you can draw upon, take the messages, and try to incorporate them as much as possible into your life and into your experience. So you have to be free of sorrow. Just to recap a little bit, you have to be free of sorrow and care if you want to lead in a time of abundance. And you have to shine like the sun at midday, illuminating and gladdening everything under heaven. This is a momentous time, and it's not for every mortal to bring about a time of outstanding greatness and abundance. But a born ruler of humanity is able to do it because this person's will is directed to what is great. So if you can do that and also keep modest, you're going to have this wonderful blessing, fame, and good fortune. So the second hexagram moves into the idea of following, transitioning to following. So this is a complementary hexagram that helps to describe what is entering your life now. Okay. And following has at the top Tui, the joyous lake, and below Chen, the arousing thunder. So thunder moves from the top trigram of abundance fullness, number 55, and then sinks down to the lower trigram in following, number 17. The trigram Tui, the joyous, whose attribute is gladness, is above. Chen, the arousing, which has the attribute of movement, is below. Joy in movement induces following. What is following? People following you, people admiring you. You attain a following. Okay. The joyous is the youngest daughter, while the arousing is the eldest son. An older man defers to a young girl and shows her consideration. By this action, he moves her to follow him. The judgment following has supreme success. Perseverance furthers, no blame. In order to obtain a following, one must first know how to adapt oneself. If a person would rule, they must first learn to serve, for only in this way do they secure from those below them the joyous assent that is necessary, if they are to follow this person. If a person has to obtain a following by force or by cunning, by conspiracy or by creating division, this person will arouse resistance, which will obstruct and block willing adherence. Adherence, I just wrote that down. In fact, adherence is an interesting word, so let's just define that a little bit further. Adherence is an attachment or commitment to a person, cause, or belief. For example, a strict adherence to etiquette being proper behavior, which does not arouse hostility. So adherence is an attachment or commitment to a person, cause, or belief. So if you want to have a following, you don't want to obstruct willing adherence, which is your, people being attached, committed to you, to a cause, or to a belief. Okay? So even joyous movement can lead to evil and negative consequences. Hence, the added recommendation, perseverance furthers. That is, be consistent in doing what's right, together with no blame. Just as we should not ask others to follow us unless this condition is fulfilled, the condition of perseverance and being consistent in doing what's right, so it's only under these conditions that we in turn can follow others without coming to harm, if those others who are following are also being persevering, they're not worthy of blame, and they're consistent in doing what's right. If they're not consistent in doing what's right, then that's a hint to us that they are not persons that we should follow, or else we may come to harm. So the thought of obtaining a following through the adaptation to the demands of the time is a great and significant idea. This is why the judgment is so favorable, because the judgment talks about supreme success, not just success, but supreme, highly elevated success. Okay? So to recap a little bit here, if a person wants to obtain a following, they shouldn't do it through negative means such as force or through lies or conspiracy or creating divisions between people. That'll only arouse resistance. So if you want to attain a following, then joyous movement is important. But even joyous movement has to be tempered, because you have to be consistent, and this is the most important recommendation. You have to be consistent in doing what's right. So the person who wants to rule or attain a following must first learn how to serve others. Then they will secure from those below the joyous assent that's necessary for them to follow him or her. The image, thunder in the middle of the lake. Thunder in the middle of the lake. So Tui being the lake and thunder within the lake. The image of following. Thus the superior person at nightfall goes indoors for rest and recuperation. In the autumn, electricity withdraws into the earth again and rests. Here it is, the thunder in the middle of the lake that serves as the image. Thunder in its winter rest, not thunder in motion. The idea of following in the sense of adaptation to the demands of the time grows out of this image of thunder in the rest of the lake. Thunder in the middle of the lake indicates times of darkness and rest. Similarly, a superior person, after being tirelessly active all day, allows themselves rest and recuperation at night. For no situation can become favorable until a person is able to adapt to it and does not wear themselves out with mistaken resistance. So to recap the image, we have the idea of rest and recuperation. Hear the thunder, which is normally active, but now it's in its winter rest in the middle of the lake. It's not in motion. And this talks about the idea of adapting to the demands of the time. So whatever's going on in your life right now, it's important to take note and adapt to these demands. And as thunder indicates the proper way to proceed, it indicates times of darkness and rest. So the idea is that the superior person, after they've been active all day, will allow themselves to recuperate and to rest at night so that they can regenerate their forces and then be active again the next day. If they don't allow themselves recuperation and rest, they're not going to have the right energy, the right mindset to proceed and have the success that they might, the supreme success that this hexagram talks about. So again, the idea of being able to accept and adapt to your situation is very important based on this hexagram's image. No situation can become favorable until a person can accept and adapt to it. And the situation can only become favorable if a person does not wear themselves out with mistaken resistance. So resistance is oftentimes one of the biggest things that we spend a lot of useless time on. When we resist things, what is, and so forth, we want things to be other than the way they are. If we simply were to adapt and work with things as they are, we could move forward quicker and faster because we're not fighting against what is. When we fight against what is, when we're not willing to adapt, we're not willing to accept, then things can't change readily. We get kind of stuck in those particular moments. The cog or the wheel of time can't move to the next moment as readily, and we stay stuck. So resistance is a way to stay stuck. So acceptance and adaptation to what is will help a situation become favorable because you're not wearing yourself out with mistaken resistance. So I hope that these ideas will help you very much, and I would recommend that you listen to these again once or twice and take some notes about what the main ideas are and begin to incorporate these through your day, your upcoming days and weeks as much as possible, and pay attention to how things unfold. Are you entering a state of abundance and fullness? If so, that's fantastic. Remember the things that were talked about in the hexagrams in terms of paying attention to keeping yourself humble, not puffing yourself up, being open to counsel and so forth, and then also doing the right thing in terms of following. You know, if you're going to have a following with others, you have to be a good example. And I hope these ideas will help you very much. And also remember to get plenty of rest and recuperation so that your powers of perception, your powers to act and to think and to speak will be strong and clear. Thanks for tuning in, and take care.